Hi, everybody. This is Drew Tomlin with the Association for Middle Level Education, and I'm joined today on this Google Hangout with Doug. I'm going to start that over. Goodness gracious. Oh, I'm out of practice. All right. Don't worry. This isn't live, kind of. All right. Here we go. Hi, everybody. This is Drew Tomlin with the Association for Middle Level Education, and I am joined today on this Google Hangout by Doug Stith. Doug Stith is a sixth grade general science teacher at Londonderry Middle School in New Hampshire, and he's also the wonderful author of this article that you're checking out in AMLE magazine entitled Students Helping Students Succeed. So a really cool, innovative support program that involves students helping other students, clearly, as the title suggests. So thank you, Doug, for taking some time to talk to us today.
Thank you.
All right. So why is it so important for young adolescents in particular to have choice in their learning? Because that's an integral part of this program. So why this age in particular?
Well, I think the adolescents are moving from elementary school kids to high school kids, and they kind of have teachers and parents doing everything for them, and they don't have a lot of ownership. They kind of react to what other people want them to do. And so part of growing up is making decisions that are right for you and going along with your interests. So I think choice is a big part of growing up.
All right, excellent. Yeah, definitely is. That's for sure. So this was if I could say this, a bold idea to have 7th and 8th grade students drop a class to come help in your 6th grade science class. With this kind of bold, progressive idea, how did you get buy-in, particularly from administration, to make this happen?
A few things kind of came together nicely. First, our superintendent had spoken to us about the need to make our public schools desirable, given the fact that parents have choices with charter schools and private schools. And so we wanted to be competitive with other opportunities parents had. So that was from the top down, the idea that we want to be competitive and desirable. Right. The curriculum coordinator in my building is very much a middle school person. And so, believe it or not, it was not a hard sell to get the green light to have a pilot where we would have students missing a class to help other students in 6th grade with their science work.
Okay.
We had, I'm fairly active with peer tutoring with 6th graders helping 6th graders. Okay. And so the students that I had in mind did quite a bit of that really successfully as 6th graders, like during their lunches and things like that. So I had high hopes that they would be very effective such a formal manner that I tried this year.
Right. And that really kind of leads me to my next question in terms of ensuring their success with this kind of support. What kind of training and support did you provide your student assistants so they could help with those 6th graders effectively? Because for many students and sometimes many adults, sitting down and tutoring someone else is very challenging.
Yeah, I think, again, believe it or not, I didn't do a lot in the way of training. When I described what kind of students I was looking for to administration, there were 2 factors that were paramount. First, they had to have very strong understanding of science. The second thing is they had to have really strong interpersonal skills. And believe it or not, that was a little harder to find, I think, than the good knowledge of science, because these would be students who would be working with students just a year younger than they were and may not necessarily be really all that interested in the learning, and they had to still kind of work with them. So the interpersonal skills were really strong.
Right.
Then beyond that, they had obviously been in my class for a year, and so are very familiar with my questioning techniques, where I got lots of why, how do you know? So they were able to basically teach much like the way I teach.
Right. So that's clearly you already kind of mapped out an induction, if you will, for success. Like you said, they had to be previous students in your class, had to have an aptitude for science, and have those strong interpersonal skills. So that's quite a bit of ingredients for the recipe for success. So that's great. And of course, in the article, thank you for sharing all the thoughts of the students and their families about their program. Great testimonials about what they've seen and how they've grown in that way through your program. What have you learned about yourself, your students, and or teaching and learning from this experience, Doug?
Well, I think what I learned or maybe relearned is it is truly amazing when you have faith in students and you give them opportunities to shine, they will take them. And the two students I began with were just fantastic students, and I was very confident they would do well. But there's no way I could envision how incredibly effective they were. I think they even surprised themselves. I think they got more confidence. They did things they didn't necessarily think they could do. And so what I learned was we just have to give the students opportunities to go far beyond what you might expect in a typical classroom.
Right, and you've created a non-typical classroom experience, and sometimes that's the only way that you can set the bar higher and give students increasingly challenging opportunities so they can reach their potential. That's totally great, and thank you for making that happen. Great stuff, Doug.
Well, when as I think about you using the word bold, I think I'm very fortunate to be in a building with administrators that support that type of activity. I'm not sure how common that would be, how many districts would try this. The classes the students came out of in almost all cases were PE and music, and those were chosen because we don't really have state guidelines on how much music they have to have.
Right.
And the PE requirements for the state were above anyway. And so those were natural classes, but I still think to go even bolder, there's nothing wrong with taking a student out of 6th grade science and putting them into PE as a PE mentor. I think we're too short-sighted in what's necessary, what's going to happen if kids don't have some experience. I think every class should be a possible donor and receiver to this program. I'm so enthusiastic about it, having watched it.
Gosh, wonderful. And you've created a template for other people to try on at their schools. But again, like you said, it does take leadership at the building and district level to encourage this kind of innovative practice. And that really. Go ahead, Doug.
I'm sorry. I think if any district would like to try this, if they were able to speak to the parents of these students, I can't believe those parents wouldn't convince the school, you've got to give it a shot.
Right. So out of the mouths of babes, right? I mean, listening to the students and how they've been impacted by this program. That's excellent.
Yeah, one of the parents mentioned she had a 16-year-old boy who was applying for his first job. And on the application, it's like other work experience. Other than working around your house, you don't have much as a 16-year-old. So just having that college and career ready, having those experiences that really separate you out from the typical student is really neat too.
Right. So yeah. So did he list? I'm assuming he listed your program as part of his application.
It's not him. It was his younger sister.
But
the parents were saying, "Oh, if he'd been able to put that on an application, he would stand way out the way Jordan will be able to in a few years when she's 16."
Gosh, that's a great example. That's really super cool. So obviously it has lots of benefits. Yeah. So final question, and obviously you're an advanced learner, so I think you can handle this, Doug. I'm going to take you on a metaphorical journey. Is that all right?
I love metaphors. Even though I'm a science teacher, I love metaphors.
All right. Well, here you go then. So if innovative practices like this were a food for middle level education, what kind of food would they be and why?
Well, let's see. I guess I might use the metaphor of a salad bar.
Cool.
And the salad bar, there'd be kind of a general structure of things you would put down. Right. But then you'd have quite a few opportunities to pick and choose among the options there, so your salad might look quite a bit different than another person's salad.
Excellent. And would you have people who've built salads before come in and help new salad builders?
Well, it might be kind of neat to see some examples of salads that have been built, and people could describe what they particularly liked or didn't like about the salads they had prepared earlier.
Excellent. There you go. So see, it all works together, right? And so it's giving that opportunity and giving that that choice that we talked about earlier that is so important in helping young adolescents grow. So, gosh, thank you so much, Doug, for the article and the conversation today, and for putting this bold practice out there.
Well, I really appreciate a chance to talk with you, and I really appreciate my administration for letting it happen.
Excellent. Well, Doug, thank you so much, and thank you to your administrator's leadership for, like you said, helping make this happen. And of course, thank you everyone out there who's reading this AMLE article and checking out this AMLE Google Hangout here at AMLE, where we help you reach every student, grow professionally, and create great schools. Thanks again, Doug.
Thank you.